Okay, guys, I'm going to get started. Excited to do this for Rick and his guys to just talk a little football today. Just going to introduce myself in this first part of the presentation so everybody has an idea who I am. My name is Jared Rolfes. I'm the offensive coordinator at Oak Grove High School, which is in Winston, Salem, North Carolina, in the Triad region. Entering year 6 at this particular school. Have spent a lot of time as a head coach prior to that, as well as working on the offensive side of the ball. My contact information is listed on the screen. Email, phone number, my Twitter account, different things, different ways you can communicate with me if you have any questions after we go through this stuff today. So let's jump right into this. A little bit about me, just so you kind of understand my background. Married, have 3 kids, Braxton, Brinley, and Neeson, all involved in sports. I've been a high school coach and a teacher for 20 years, mostly in the special education realm. I've taught PE as well. 11 years as a head coach and then 9 years as an assistant coach. Most of that time I've spent as an offensive coordinator. I've taught and coached in multiple states just due to different moves related to my wife and early on in our schooling and her schooling and just being back home in Ohio, but then moving to North Carolina about 12 years ago. Again, as I said, I'm entering year 6 as the offensive coordinator here at Oak Grove. I've spent 5 years and entering, I think, my 6th coaching my son's flag football team, which is one of my favorite things to coach. I spent 1 year coaching his 5th and 6th grade tackle team as well. It kind of ran in conjunction with our varsity schedule, and I was able to make that work in the fall of 23 and had a lot of fun doing that. And just believe in coaching education. I attend a lot of clinics and do a lot of online study and different things as well, just like a lot of you are doing today. So what are we and what did we want to accomplish in coming up with this, this new age option attack that we have? We wanted to break the trend of traditional spread stuff that you see everywhere to be able to run the football with a heavy success rate, to maximize the type of quarterback that we typically get and their backup so that they could be successful no matter the situation. And really something that was unique, kind of cutting edge, tough to prepare for, and really that was different than what other people were doing. We wanted to reinvigorate the traditions of complements such as play action pass and the boot game and misdirection and things that we felt in old school offenses made such a big difference that have kind of gone away a little bit in the new age realm of the spread world. Something that would look the same but neutralize talent. When you play teams that might be a little bit better than you, sometimes it's nice to have something that's so difficult to prepare for that those teams are a little bit more neutralized from a talent standpoint. And then the last one is flexible approach that could be altered to fit talent year to year, especially at the quarterback position. Our first year, kind of in the full-blown version of this, we had a quarterback who was electric running the ball, sub 4.5 in the 40. Last year, we had a sophomore who started who was not that. He wasn't super electric, but he read the run well and did some other things well. So he kind of swung in a little bit different direction with some things, but the core of what we did stays the same. And we try to protect him with some of the stuff that we do that either is option or presents like option. So let's look at one of our base principles and how we do it. So this is just a standard formation that we use. So we're going to call our veer scheme to the right. And so if you saw my first session, we're blocking this like our inside veer, which again has got some zone principles, but a little bit different. We're reading this player for dive, right? And this is our pitch player if you go back to our triple rules. And so in this, we've tagged stick. And so our backfield now knows I'm still doing the same thing I do on a veer call. And this guy now knows he's got a stick tag. He's the underneath arrow player. Now, we will do some bubble stuff with him at times. I really like the underneath arrow concept because what that does is put a lot of pressure on this overhang player who's defending pitch ultimately. And because he's got a stick player who's going to put his foot in the ground and settle, and then he's got the arrow route coming out. So we gain a number to that side, and we really outnumber them to that side because, again, this guy's not going to come out of the box, and he typically does not come downhill. And if they're in a forefront look, he's rotated over and this guy's down, so they're even outnumbered even more. And so starting from the outside in, we run an outside release go route, and we don't typically look at this. We have thrown a touchdown on this one time in our tripled RPO stuff because they blew a coverage and our quarterback saw it. But we read the exchange. So if we get a pull key because this guy squeezes on dive, he is immediately getting his eyes to here. And if this guy stays heavy on this route, he's going to let the arrow cut clear, and he's going to throw the arrow cut. If this guy triggers down because he's got option rules that week and he's reacting a lot to what's happening in the backfield, which we see quite a bit, then, again, that stick route's going to be wide open. Or if he bumps to the outside of the stick route, we let him settle and we throw the stick to the inside. So let's show you a couple clips here and what this looks like. From this view, we're running veer to the offense's left, so to the two-man side here. So you got a dive scheme, and you see the underneath player is coming on the arrow cut, putting pressure on any down defender. Now, they end up kind of getting to almost like a man scenario. But because of all the stuff in the backfield, you can kind of see the eyes of the safety. He doesn't really know who to defend. And so the stick player does a good job of kind of getting out in space and making himself available. And we're plus 15, 16 yards. Let's watch another one here with motion. So we're going to call our veer scheme to the field here. So you can see numbers wise. This is why we like doing this. The pitch player is really right here. So he's already out leveraged. And so, we have some other things we do to hold certain people, but they're going to match 1-for-1 out here. And we're going to bring the third route from the opposite side. So unless they bump or move somebody out, there's not enough time based on a jet player to be able to get there. And if you kind of see how this sets up, we end up getting a pretty free release with this guy. And so the quarterback knows, based on how this is being blocked and the alignment of that guy, that he can pull that ball and just spit the ball out to number 3, who's in space with plus 10 in front with nobody in front of him. So really good example of that. Again, dive player, pitch player, they're really tight to the line of scrimmage. We get a clean release. He gets a pull. He knows he's got him leveraged, and we're off to the race. So it's triple option football, but obviously that's a thing that we like to do. So let me go back to this clip and set this next one up. So one of the things that we try to do is we have different scenarios with our route combinations to hold people. Our two biggest variations are stick and snag. And so stick is stick, go, with bringing the arrow cut from the opposite side in this particular case. If we're getting a heavy trigger down player by, say, this safety is a heavy down player, and he starts coming down heavy on that route, or, we've got a guy out in the flats and they're really going to match us almost 3 for 3 unless we can out leverage them, we will actually run him off with a corner route and bring him inside on a snag cut and keep this the same. So let's go to that next clip. And again, same presentation. We're trying to extend the field a little bit with a 2x2 set, bringing a guy in motion. We get a dive, but now we're running snag to the top of the screen. So what that means is this: snag player, so he's going to step inside and run the snag course. He runs the corner route, and then our motion player is still the flat guy. Boom. And so here's a really good example of the only guy who can defend the flat route. If you watch him here, he kind of feathers. He starts to trigger. And then so the quarterback's, I got the arrow, but he sees the guy kind of come back out to the outside, so he pulls the ball and spins it to the inside. That's a really good job by the quarterback. And at the end of the day, guys, that's triple option. I mean, you can call it what you want. I know some people don't like using that terminology because they think it's too old school, but you see this at every level. And this is a really, really good scheme. So we ran off 2 defenders with the corner route and then made it a sweet exchange between the arrow and the snag just to spit the ball to the inside. So I really, really like this stuff. We diversify how we get to it. On this case, in this example, it's third down. It's 3rd and 5. We got our 2 running backs who are very similar in the backfield. We're putting our best. This is our best football player. He is the underneath player, and he's coming out into the flat. And so we're running our stick concept right here. So here's our stick player, go route. Because they're a one-high safety team, and this guy's not quite in the middle of the field, but he's far enough over, we can run the exchange with stick, and I have to call snag because we're going to work off him and run him out. So if you watch this, watch the overhang, he's getting expansion already. And so the stick player's already open underneath him. Ball's spun inside. That's one of our fastest kids, and we're plus 21. So again, triple option football out of a different look. Here's a really good film view of this. So we're doing this out of a pistol set. This is one of our rival schools. Ball's down. Guy's coming out. Now, he sees this really quick, so he pulls and triggers. So that's the only difference between true triple option and this. Sometimes the reactions occur really, really fast. Not in a negative way, but the quarterbacks will get used to, the ball. Because if you watch the overhang player, he's reacting right now. He's already up. He's not sure where to go. He's kind of feathering. And so the guy behind him is wide open. Again, that's one of our best guys. He's strong. He's fast. So he catches it with, the ability to turn and run with no conflict in front of him. So here's a good look at it from this view. Watch number 2 out here, the defender. So he triggers up. He's a little bit lost right now. He sees the route coming out. He takes it. Nobody behind him. And we're off to the races. So really, really clean stuff. Here's a double option version. So we've got a tight end who's a pretty good player. He's actually going to be the arrow cut, and we're actually going to block up the whole outside. So we're still reading for dive, And then if he pulls it, he's throwing it because we're blocking the whole perimeter. So this is where double option comes into play. Again, everybody runs this to some degree at the college level, but this is a great way to get anybody by alignment involved in this. And this was just, it's toss sweep essentially. You're getting somebody the football in space, and this is a big fella here, so we're putting him in space to kind of rumble and bumble down the field for plus 15 there.